Why hello there, Nice Tail here. I do hope this video finds you well, and today I'm bringing you a summary of a knife I've done a full review on. The full review will be linked down in the description. It is, of course, the long form content, has full specs and everything like that. This is the summary, much shorter, much quicker. We're looking at the Molsect Old Fashioned here today. Before I go any further, I would like to say consider dropping a like and subscribe. It would help the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. I always forget to say that or leave it to the end, so I'm going to try to say it a little more frequently if nobody minds. If you do mind, I'm very sorry. But, what are we looking at here? This is a very distinctly styled knife. It is very reminiscent of a number of French, I believe it is, makers. David Lespect only being one of them. There are a few others that have very similar stylings. It is a front flipper only knife, so I know that's going to definitely turn away some people, but I will say this one is very, very, very easy. It's kind of, well, I mean, the front flipper is kind of pushed back pretty far, but it sticks out enough that it makes the front flip very simple. Weirdly enough, the only thing it's not particularly good at, I mean, it's a little tricky to get this way if you bounce off the scale, and strangely enough, the slow roll was one of the only things it's not particularly good at, because it sort of disappears before the knife is fully locked open. So, if that's your preferred method for the front flipper, this one's not great. Alright, it is a liner lock, steel liner lock on bearings. This particular one has G10 and this blue sort of kind of a denim micarta. There is 3 variants. There's one, I think it's blacked out blade just with like 2 colors of G10, green, like an olive green and a brown or something like that. It's just not my favorite combo. And then there's a wood one with some G10 that has a different blade steel, but it doesn't have a pocket clip. Just letting people know if that's something that they care about. It does have SLD with a Hamon line on it. It looks really good. It just doesn't have the pocket clip. Bearings, obviously, in the pivot. This one, not being that particular variant, is in 14C28M budget steel, pretty decent. I mean, ideally, I'd like a budget steel with a little bit more edge retention, but this one has super high toughness and corrosion resistance, so if you don't mind doing some light touch-ups, it's pretty easy to sharpen this steel, so it's pretty good for budget. It also has, and the most important thing, has very good geometry. It is quite thin behind the edge, and came with a pretty good edge. And as for like some budget knives and some knives in general, just sometimes they don't always come with a great edge, which is funny considering they're knives. I mean, most things will cut, but like this one's got just a little bit of bite, and that's a nice thing to have. All the branding is on the back side of the blade, and it's pretty minimal. It's Molsect, UTE. I think that's a designer or something like that. I don't 100% know, but that is the Molsect logo right there. And Molsect is, of course, the maker, which, did I say that? I don't even know. Who knows? Oh, also the liners are this bronze, which really does stand out. It's a very interesting color combination. Lock bar axis is actually quite good. They've given you some cutout, and they've bolted the lock bar out. Definitely get it from the side, and the lock bar axis placement, or the lock bar placement, allows the knife to drop down to your nail without really hitting you too badly, because there's a big, of course, forward joil on this thing. It was intelligently placed, but even if they didn't give you, honestly, that much forward joil, probably would still just hit on the nail. Either way, you have some extra room there, and it gives you a little bit of extra closer choke up to the actual edge. There is a slight recurve on this trailing clip point style knife, but it is pretty minimal. It's not going to really cause a problem when you're sharpening it. And it'll probably come out pretty quickly, honestly, but it's there. Sharpening choil and plunge grind. Well, I already talked about the sharpening choil, big finger choil, but the plunge grind is not bad. It kind of comes there. I mean, that gives you a lot of life. It does come close to the edge, but it's higher up, so it gives you a pretty considerable amount of life on this thing. No problem there, and the stop pin is internal, attached to the blade. It's right up in there. So, fine. Jimping, while it actually works well for the front flipper, I think that's more shape of the front flipper than anything else. The jimping does very little, though it does give a tiny bit of traction. Not the best kind of jimping, but it's fine. It works for what you got here. Titanium pocket clip. I should probably do this with the knife closed, but oh well. Almost deep carry, even though it's a milled pocket clip, which is nice. It is a little bit, like, it's not, I don't think it's like the highest grade of titanium. It has, you can kind of tell when it comes to titanium, because really good titanium has a lot of flex, but a lot of memory bringing it back into the exact position. This is okay, as you can hear. I've put it in and out of the pocket a number of times, and there's a tiny bit of tap. I can get rid of that, no problem. I just take it off and bend it back. If I overcorrect, it probably won't have that issue ever again, but just thought I'd mention it. The pocket clip, though, does work really, really well. It's nice, continuous rise. It's not too long. It's kind of stubby, but I mean, it can be a little bit tight in thicker pants, just because, you know, there's not that much room below this kind of thick end here. But it flexes easy. So, good pocket clip, reasonable depth, pretty easy to get in and out of the pocket because the micarta gives you some traction and everything like that. No problem there. There is a G10 backspacer, and the way they did their lanyard loop thing here is a piece of the G10. It's one solid piece. It's actually, you can see how it's milled in there. Wire on the other side, it's not. So it's actually one solid piece of G10, which is kind of cool. Kind of a fun way to do that. A little extra details. I mean, it got a lip there that it's got to be done just right. It's kind of interesting, but it's there, and they did it. It's fine. There is some weight reduction. It's not the lightest knife. I mean, it's a kind of a solid feeling knife. It's just I don't usually do specs in this, but whatever. That's in grams, so that's yeah, it's about 5 ounces. It came centered. It's no play. It's really good quality here. The biggest thing about this knife is, while I really like the looks of it, I like these kinds of style knives, and I like front flippers, but when you look at this thing, especially in person, it doesn't look like it should work as comfortable, because all of these edges here are pretty sharp. Like, they're not really, there is not much of a chamfer on these things. In fact, they sort of, I mean, if there is, it's super tiny. Yeah, I think there is like a super, you can kind of see it right there. But it still feels very severe. The angles are very hard. And that, I mean, yeah. Very, very severe angles. And that normally makes for a very uncomfortable knife. And this thing, by all accounts, should be. But, and I mentioned this in the review, because this is something that's very important. Somehow, they've put this thing together with a shape and with just the right of these larger chamfers, that despite being flat and, I mean, angular, it is bizarrely comfortable in the hand. Or at least for my hand. This could, of course, be subjective, but it's like they've put them in just the right places with these larger chamfers to prevent you from really hitting these hard, sharp, unpleasant edges. Which is excellent. It's like it's very well thought out and designed. And honestly, because of that, it's very comfortable in the hand. I mean, it's not necessarily the most comfortable thing in every grip, but you can find a comfortable position in pretty much every grip, right? And that's what's important. So yeah, it doesn't look it, but it's a lot more comfortable than you'd think, giving everything that it pretty much screams that it should be. And the quality, top-notch quality here. Um, this is just barely outside of a budget knife. It's kind of on the bubble. My range is $75 or less for budget knives. This thing I think is like 76. So I'm gonna call it a budget knife, but it is right on the edge, and some people might not agree with that, which is perfectly fine. However, I do think that the build quality here is pretty solid. I mean, yes, to be fair, you can definitely find comparable pieces with similar build quality for less. You can. You're definitely going to be able to do that. Petrified Fish, they like using titanium pocket clips. They use 154 cm on some of their models. I guarantee you that their build quality is right there. But I mean, and some Civivis, and there's a number, right? So what it really comes down to is, do you like the design form factor? Because it is definitely doing its own thing. I really do, and I really appreciate it, and it's just enough for me to still consider it a budget knife, so I was not exactly unhappy about it. Would I be happy about it if it was, $10 less? Sure. It would be a little bit more competitive, but Molsect is a small, new brand, so, yeah. Or a newer brand. They've got a few models now. They're just coming out with stuff, but I think this is perfectly reasonable, and it's quite good if you're okay with, front flipper only and stuff like that. So, I'm going to end things here. That'll cover over the entire everything I wanted to say. And say thank you for watching, and have a great day. Hopefully I'll see you in another one. See you later.